All right, it's Chris Reynolds, Tabi Barber here for the All-Pro team. A couple months ago, we were talking about buyers. We got all the way to the point of them finding their perfect home. It's beautiful, it's great, but this is really where the work begins. So tell me about it. This is where you step in the most and help do what?
Right. We're going to write a contract.
Okay.
So we're going to put your offer in the contract,
Yep.
but to back up a little bit, when I have new buyers, I like to send them a copy of it, a blank one.
So they can see it.
So they can review it
Yeah.
and not be totally scared when I send it to them to sign.
Because it's intimidating.
It's a big it's a big deal.
Right.
So that's what I do.
Okay.
And we start with that.
And then so you write a contract. What are some of the things that you need to know before you write a contract? Obviously, the price of the house they're wanting to do, but what else are we going through?
You want to know your closing date, projected closing date. You want to know what your earnest money is. We'll talk about that in a minute. Your offer, of course.
Yeah.
And if there's any stipulations, special stipulations you want to ask for, like termite inspections or septic inspections, those are kind of important.
Those are important because
to
if
add to the contract.
we live in Georgia, so no matter where you're watching this, termites are a real thing. Everybody has them, right?
It happens.
And so you want to make sure that there's a bond there.
Right.
And septic.
Right.
You do not want to have that issue on your hands.
Those are two very
Yeah.
high-priced repairs if
Yeah.
you have to do that.
So you mentioned earnest money. So
Yes.
what exactly is earnest money?
Earnest money is something that once we get under contract,
Yeah.
we send that, to well, basically, if I'm the buyer's agent,
Yep.
it comes to our office and it's put in a trust fund.
Okay. And basically
in a
just saying,
trust.
hey, I'm kind of putting some skin in the game.
Exactly.
So they don't really, so do they cash the check? So it goes in a trust fund. So
No,
that's,
it's just held there.
Okay.
And then that money goes towards their payment.
okay.
That comes off the
Yeah.
total cost of the house at the end.
So, and from that earnest money point, you got a due diligence period, right?
Yep.
So what does that entail? Like what works through on a due diligence timeline?
Well, during that due diligence, usually it's 7, maybe 10 days.
Okay.
The market was different a year ago.
Sure.
We didn't have very many due diligence days that we allowed for. But like 7 is a good amount of time
Yeah.
to get an inspector. So that's really, it's an inspection period.
Gotcha,
I would
yeah.
call it the inspection period.
Okay.
But we get an inspector out there, a good one,
Yeah.
that will kind of go over the house thoroughly and give you some idea of what you've got.
Okay.
And what repairs we might ask for, or what repairs we won't ask for, but you know what you're getting into when you buy that house.
All
you want
the
to know.
things. Yeah, for sure. And they need to come with that inspector, or you got that?
Well, we have inspectors that we
Okay.
use that are really good.
Yeah.
And so we'll offer that. But if they have their own inspector, that's fine too. Because we've
Okay.
had buyers who, will prefer to use their people.
So we find something during that due diligence period. The inspector finds something, and obviously we're negotiating through that time. But once we kind of come to an agreement there, is that earnest money hard at that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Up till the due diligence days, you can back out of that
Okay.
contract at any
I mean,
time
if you have a
during
bad morning.
that. If you just said, "Hey,
Yeah.
I changed my mind,"
Right. Which happens.
and it has happened.
Yes.
We hate to see that, but we listen to our buyers.
Sure.
And they know in their head
Yeah.
and in their heart.
And if they're financing, I know beyond that due diligence period, there's a financial contingency
Yes.
to make sure that nothing changes within their finances, that they can
Right.
actually still secure that
Right.
loan or that promissory. And so there's still opportunities to get your money back. But after that due diligence, you need to kind of really be in the game.
Exactly.
You don't want to switch out there. Okay.
Exactly.
So we get past that. Finances have come through. Everything's selling. So what do? Do you see the house after closing, or is there a walkthrough? What
Right.
does that look like?
Right. So a couple of days before closing,
Okay.
we do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
A thorough walkthrough. And we just walk through the house to make sure it looks the same as when they looked at it the first time.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different because things are going to be moved out.
Pictures
and
are
it's gonna
taken
be
down.
clean. So they're going to see it raw.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's when that happens.
Okay. So you basically want to make sure what you put a contract on is still
the same.
The same. Because I am sure there's some horror stories out there, but
Yeah.
I haven't ever really experienced that. I don't know if you have,
Yeah.
where the house is completely different.
Right.
But I do have buyers that have said, well, I mean, there's holes in the wall
Right.
because people hung pictures, stuff like that. And so there's those small things that are going to be there. But ultimately, if everything's good to go, I guess we're headed to closing, right?
We are. Then the next step is the closing table.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of paperwork as a buyer to sign,
yeah.
especially if you've got a loan.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of signatures that are going to
You're
happen
gonna get
that
good
day.
at signatures.
You
Yeah,
really
that's
are.
right. Which we all practice when we're in school. At least I did. I always felt like I was going to be a rock star, right? And so I'd sign, get really good at it. Now it just kind of looks like a doctor that writes a prescription. You can't read it. Thank God for electronics, right?
Right.
And so you get there, the closing table. It's the happiest day of their life, and it's game time. Hand the keys,
Yep.
and send them on their way. That house has become a home.
It's all theirs.
Yeah, what an
That's the
incredible.
exciting time.
That is the exciting
That's the
time.
fun part.
That's right. That's right. So if you're interested at all in buying a house, obviously we have the expert for buyers on the team, and we'd love to get in contact with you and be a part of your story. And we just appreciate your time, Tabi. Appreciate you guys trusting in our team. And if there's any other questions about buyers, please contact us and have a fantastic day.